Hello everyone and welcome to a new video on the Archive channel. I'm Adam and this is ranking all the Season 2 villain monsters of What's New Scooby-Doo. I butchered that title. It's ranking all the monsters from Season 2 of What's New Scooby-Doo. So right here we got 14 monsters to talk about. This is my opinion, so if your opinion is different, please in the comments below which monster is your favourite of these batch. And to add something else to it, this is part of a 4-part video series on the Archive channel, which is talking about little different topics of Season 2 of What's New Scooby-Doo. There's going to be Lucas's part of that either before or after mine are uploaded, because we don't really race to do them, we just get round to them when we can. But yeah, this is my version, the Adam Fearns version. 14th place, so that being said, let's get into the video. 14th place we have the Centaur. Now, to Lucas, this comes to no surprise why it's this slow, or at last place, because there's nothing to this monster. I don't care there's part man, part horse. I don't care if it's if it's similar to the Sagittarius symbol, which star sign, which is my symbol, but it's just boring. It's literally a bold man on a horse. Like, with the beast in Beast Quest, we got Taggers. He's interesting because he has spiky hair and a scabbard. Probably the least interesting out of all the Centaur beasts. Then we've got Equinus. He has a purple skull-like face. And also the ghostly ability. That makes him interesting. Then we got Tauron. Wings and top half man and bull. Literally a Minotaur mixed with a Centaur. If anything, he's a Chimera. Next is Chiron. And do I even need to explain that? He's literally a lord of fire. Even though it doesn't just be a lord, he's probably the best looking of all the centaurs because of how intimidating he looks. And then there's this centaur. Honestly, the most boring looking thing I've ever seen. And I've never liked it. Moving on. 13th place is Gusano Grande. Or Gusano Gigantic. I don't know. It's Gusano Grande to me. That is the giant worm. Pretty much just a giant worm. It's boring in my opinion. And all it does is just go for the racer in first place. And then not to mention, it's just kind of strange. I do not like the fact it's just a giant animal. That can be a bit hypocritical in the future. Hopefully not in this episode. But yeah, it's just boring in my opinion. There's nothing special to it. And the only good thing about it is what is its teeth. That's it. 12th place is the 30-foot Shaggy. I said why I don't like this monster in the previous episode. It's just one big plot hole. It's not supposed to be a 30-foot Shaggy. The culprit originally had the plan to curse someone and then build the monster in his image to destroy Tokyo, to make him an outcast and hated from everyone in Tokyo or Japan. But because the curse kind of backfired and hit Shaggy, or Shaggy got hit with the curse, then a couple hours later the monster appears with Shaggy's face. The thing I hate about this is that the culprit probably spent months preparing for this guy to be cursed and built the monster in his image. But after Shaggy got the curse, there's no way he's able to rebuild the facial structure, as well as all the little extra details like torn trousers of Shaggy, to mate. There's no way he changed the monster that much in a couple of hours to resemble Shaggy. There's really no way he's done that. I do not really accept this, and this is probably the most BS monster that's ever existed of What's New Scooby-Doo. I'll put the Jungle Demons over this. Maybe. The reason why it is 12th place, though, is because it actually looks kind of terrifying. Like it's kind of like Godzilla to an extent. But at the end of the day, there's that one major plot hole just changed my whole opinion on it, and is why I had to put it so low. 11th place is the vampire. Now, quite frankly, it's just a generic vampire. That's all I need to say about it. It's just generic, it's boring, nothing interesting happens with it. And like, it's just him creeping around a castle. 10th place, we got Jeeves. Now, I like Jeeves due to how adorable he is. From how he looks when he was being all nice and friendly. But when he's just being possessed, it's just one of those robots chasing the Scooby Gang round a house. And it was kind of creative for how the robot was defeated, because even though, yeah, water killed it, the way in which Jeeves was defeated, considering the culprit is in control of the gadgets and gizmos in the House of the Future, the fact he'd got beaten by those gadgets and gizmos, it's actually really cool, because it's basically like, oh no, my own power has been used against me, kind of thing. And I actually kind of like that. It's really nice. 9th place is the Wakumi. Now, I'm aware this is just a giant bird, but I like it because I honestly adore birds. I got no real reason other than that there. I find it kind of intimidating. I like one particular aspect about the Wakumi, but I can't say that until a future video, so I just leave it there. But other than that, it's quite a nice looking monster. 8th place is the Scooby Snack monster. Now, I feel like just to hope people won't hate me, I put the Scooby Snack monster above the Wakumi, because even though they're just okay to me, I put the Scooby Snack monster up because it just simply looks more intimidating, and it's actually really unique for the monster it is. It kind of reminds me of the Tar monster, but it isn't the Tar monster, so that's what it has going for it. Other than that, compared to the others, it's just kind of boring. Unfortunately. Sorry, mate. 7th place is the robot scarecrows. These guys are terrifying. And quite frankly, if I see them come to life in a field like anyone would, I will run. I'll run in that direction. Just that direction. Like, they'll come down and I'll be like the Roadrunner. You mean? Like, I'll be gone. You won't even see me run. I'll be gone. Because these guys are terrifying. But the thing is that's holding them back is that they barely get anything to do. They're just there just to make weird shapes in the crops. But that's it. 6th place, we have the Glasboro Dragon. Legend speaks of a treasure deep in within the wall that no one's ever found it, and live to tell the tale. For those who seek the treasure will only taste the flame of a 1,000-year-old dragon. Oh, Glassy is her name. I feel obligated I had to do that, and quite frankly, I hate doing that. But I felt obligated I had to, so that's why I did it. But the Glasboro Dragon, come on, it's a dragon. You can't say no to that. To some people, this is probably their least favourite monster of all. But for me, the Glasboro Dragon is actually quite a good monster. I like it. I got nothing against the Glasboro Dragon, but the fact that me and Lucas constantly compare it to Furno just shows that it's not that good compared to Furno. Furno's easily superior. And even though the Glasboro Dragon was introduced before Furno, then that's just embarrassing, really, because that just goes to show that the newer dragon is better, which it is. I prefer Furno over the Glasboro dragon any day. But like with the Wakumi, there's one key aspect to the Glasboro dragon, which is why it's so high for me. And unfortunately, like the Wakumi, I can't talk about it. Not yet anyway. So we'll have to wait for the future episode for that. 5th place, we got the cat creature. This one was one of my favourite villains, and right now, it still is. I like this one. I just like how intimidating it looks, and the fact I've always been more of a dog person, and dogs are actually terrified of this thing, just goes like, oh, this thing's actually really terrifying. Let's see it. Oh my god, this thing is terrifying. Protect me, little doggy. Protect me, doggy. This one was absolutely terrifying. That's all it's there for. I like the fact it's just jumping from one place to another. And there's so many other aspects about it which I like, especially the glow in its eyes. But because I'm trying to wrap this video up to get to the next one and then the one after that to get this series done with and get started with series 3, I'm just going to call it there for the cat creature. 4th place, we have Pharaoh Scamsies. Now, to some people, this is probably their favourite villain or favourite monster, but to me, it's just one of the best because, quite frankly, I've never been a big fan of those classic monsters like Frankenstein, a vampire, a werewolf, or a mummy. But this one is so brilliantly executed, I had to put it this high. There are 2 key shots with this mummy which makes it look brilliant. The first one is his silhouette standing on the pyramid looking down on the Mystery Inc. and Melbourne O'Reilly, just staring down there, looking up. So up there, up on top of the pyramid, looking up at the sky towards the moon. It's terrifying, and with the mist seeping in around the pyramid and the mummy himself, it's just brilliant. I love it. And then, obviously, something to really scare the children. The scene during, a certain point during the chase scene where the mummy literally rips off his headgear and just roars at Shaggy and Scooby, which, even though I think would have been better without the chase scene in it, so during a scene without the chase scene, it was still good. And that image is sunk into my head and is now absolutely terrifying. Fun. But yeah, it has so many great moments, but ignoring that, it is just a mummy. And that is why it's 4th place. 3rd place, we have the Fish Fiend. Now, this one I know Luke's going to disagree with me on. Basically, for me, the Fish Fiend is like the Pharaoh Scamsies, but better. We see more of the Fish Fiend. He is relentless, never gives up for trying to stop the Mystery Inc. from foiling his plans. And during the underwater scene where Little Peak was saving Scooby and then Scooby was saving Little Peak, towards the beginning of that, when Scooby starts sinking into the water, the camera slides to the left to see the Fish Fiend just creeping out from the shadows with the most sinister grin on his face, and then it just fades to black. Then, after the presumable ad that I will assume was after that point, we see Little Peak dive in to save Scooby, push him out of the water to safety, but then Little Peak gets dragged down by the Fish Fiend. And then after wriggling free, Scooby jumps back in to save Little Peak. And it's just a whole gimmick of just going back in, out, back in, out. And I have no idea why Lucas actually isn't a big fan of this, because it shows that these guys are literally fighting each other head on, and the fish fiend is not giving up. Others would probably just back off after the first time failed, but this one keeps coming back and back and back. And another aspect, like the Glasboro dragon and the Wakumi, I like, but I can't talk about it, so I'll be back later for that. But I think another thing which really sealed it into my mind as one of the best villains to me is the simple reason the first time we see it, it punches through solid ice and chucks the Dr. Zola in there, literally freezing him over to where he's still alive, but he's been frozen in time. Which we'll find out later is part of the whole plan. But it is so terrifying to see a monster, presumably to a first-time viewer, kill someone within the first 2 minutes of the actual episode. It's brilliant. I love it. Second place is the San Fran Psycho. Now this one is probably one of the most popular villains. Right after number 1 as well, and the reason why it's this high for me is the glowing red eyes, the hook for a hand, and the first time we see it, it is roaring up into the sky, being silhouetted by a bunch of spotlights just going past him, focused on the Grind Games arena. But with him right there, his shadow must be enormous. Oh my god, I'm so glad I muted myself for that, but God's sake, I cannot control myself for that, because I mean it when I say that should have been terrifying to anyone to actually, if that was real, that would be terrifying. Not to mention this one, the San Fran Psycho seems to have more appearances in his episode than any other monster did in any other episode, and I mean that literally compared to number 1. No. But San Fran Psycho is a terrifying monster. I like the seaweed that's dangled all over his body, and just the fact he's based off this old criminal who was eaten by a shark, and the only thing left was his hands. It fits in so well, and I love it for that. But, of course, number 1, I think we know what this is the Invisible Madman. So, now you know what I mean by the San Fran Psycho is more seen than this one, because invisible. And going back to what I was saying about Pharaoh Scamsies, of how I'm not a big fan of these original villains, monsters. The Invisible Madman, I know, is one of those original monsters. I seen the 1933 version of the Invisible Man. Great movie, by the way. The reason why I put it this high though, and excluded it from that batch, is because the Invisible Man is the only one of that batch that I actually like. And because you can't see it, I mean, it can be literally doing anything. It can be pulling pranks. It can be, right behind you right now, just taunting you, ready to hit you. It's terrifying. You have no idea where this thing will be. And then, like with the Glasboro Dragon, the San Fran Psycho, the Fish Fiend, Wakumi, and a few other monsters in this series and others, there's one point I can't talk about yet, so we'll come back to that later. But the Invisible Madman is probably one of my favourite monsters for the simple reason you don't know what it will be doing. You don't know where it is, you don't know what it's doing, and you don't know when it will strike. And that is the thing that terrifies me most about this monster. You do not know what or when it will be doing. So, with that being said, that's all for this time. If you like what you saw, leave a like, leave a comment, don't forget to subscribe, press the notification bell down the corner below, and I'll see you next time.